Ciao bellezza! Today I want to show you how to make eggplant parmigiano, but the calabrese way, the way that we did it in my family, not the way that you normally would get in restaurants, but this is actually going to be a stuffed version. So we're going to get started by doing the first steps. It's going to take some time, but follow along. You love this dish, so I'm so excited to show you how to make this. Cominciamo, dai! Get a deep pot like this, start it with some water. We're going to put some salt. You got to put a lot of salt because eggplant is very bitter, like extremely bitter. And if you don't use salt to get rid of that bitterness, it's not going to come out as tasty. So we're first going to take off the tops, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half, just like that. And guess what? We're going to put them in the water. And we will come back in about 5 minutes so I can show you what it's supposed to look like when it's ready. You see it's been boiling for 5 minutes and it is pretty much ready to go. So we're going to strain it and let it cool off before we begin. You don't want to overcook them, okay? You just want them so the interior is nice and soft. You see, they look great, but you gotta let it cool off because they're too hot to handle right now. Sometimes I will put cold water on them to cool them off a little quicker, just like this. And now we'll make sure they strain properly. Now I have I would say about a teaspoon and a half of freshly ground black pepper. We're gonna need some fresh parsley, red onion, some 3 cloves of garlic, 2 eggs, and look at this block of provolone cheese, okay? You need a block like this because we're going to cut it up into little cubes, okay? To cut it up and to put it into the mixture that we're going to stuff the eggplant with. Also, salt. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much salt because I'm going to have to go and put it around as I go. Because eggplant is so bitter, you have to salt it often, so I can't give you a guesstimation. Maybe in the beginning, just in the mixture itself, put a teaspoon and a half of salt, but afterwards you're going to have to do it again and I'll show you why. Oh, also, so I don't forget, you know how I make my own breadcrumbs, makes a big difference on how flavors come up, and my freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano with Pecorino, okay? Put those together. You're going to need a bowl to put the mixture in, and you're going to need this also, to put the eggplant when you're done. I made Nonna sauce, so we're going to use that. Now you can see that in the previous video of Nonna sauce, and we're going to use that first as a base, then we're going to put the eggplant inside just a little bit on top and sprinkle it with Parmigiano Reggiano and put it in the oven. All right, let's get started. It smells so good. I think in this recipe I'm going to use some of the stalks because the stalk has such amazing flavor, and that's what we want to kind of embed in this eggplant, to put all these little natural ingredients and really make it smell wonderful. But don't go too far down to the root because then it gets too bitter. We need to squeeze the moisture out of the eggplant without ruining the integrity of the eggplant. So what I do is I always get a cloth just like this, and I put it in and I gently squeeze the juices out as much as I can, okay? Just very gently. And you'll see some of the juices coming out. It's a very gentle process, just like that. The reason why you're doing that is because a lot of the bitterness stays in the liquid and you don't want all that liquid, okay? So when you open it up, let's move this out of the way. Let me put this top of here. You're gonna see this is what you have. All right, and so you're going to cut around just like this. You want to leave some of the eggplants still intact because you're going to stuff it. You don't want to completely decimate it. And you're going to go just like this and leave this here. It's okay if it's a little thick. Now this is a little too thick, so let's slim it a little more. Just like that. And that's basically what you're going to do with the rest of your eggplant. So we're going to go through all of this. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to put all of this in here, and I'm really going to squeeze it really well. Look at that. Even after squeezing it, look at all that, oops, all that liquid that's coming out. You want to get rid of it all. How we're doing. That's awesome. Now listen, sometimes the eggplant, you'll take out too much and you'll have this left over. You don't have to use it, but definitely use the stuffing from it, okay? So what we're going to do now, we're going to grab this, and I probably could have squeezed more moisture out of it, but it's not necessary. And we're going to try to cut this as little as possible. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to put it in the mixture with all the ingredients in it. I want to put the black pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle some salt. It's probably about, I would say about a teaspoon. Let's try half a cup. Let's put about a cup. There we go. Then let's put half a cup of cheese. Maybe a little more. Let's put our eggs. I'm going to mix all of the ingredients together. Ooh, I wish you could smell this parsley. It smells so good. And all the onions and everything mixed together. You got to scoop it in, get in there. Your hands are your best tools. Because you could also tell, you know, the texture and the consistency if it's exactly the way you want it. There, we have our stuffing. Look at that. It smells amazing. Because I'm going to stuff each and every one of them. I just grab a little and I put it in and I form it just like this. You don't want to overstuff too much, because if you overstuff it too much, we still have to saute them before we put them in the oven, just to keep everything together so it doesn't fall apart. Okay? Okay, so now this is stuffed. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to have to saute them in a pan. I only put 2 at a time when I do it, so I have room to move them around. Now I use avocado oil for this process because you can burn it at a higher temperature and it's healthy for you. If you do olive oil, you can't burn it at a higher temperature, because if you do, it's very unhealthy. Now, just a quick little turn. Just a quick little turn, just like this. Now the cheese is going to make it get a little stuck, so you just got to keep working it like this. Just like I am like this. And it's okay if it gets a little stuck, it's fine. See, it even gets on this. That's okay. Just let it do its thing. It's okay if a little bit comes off. That's how it should look. You take it out and put it on this. Take this other one out, put it like so. When you take it out, it's really important that you salt, okay? Again, I know, seems like a lot, but trust me, they need it. So we're going to put a layer of Nonna sauce on the bottom of this. Now you're going to need a pot holder because you feel heat. I don't feel the heat anymore after all these years of cooking, so I just do it like this. And then we're going to make room for the 5th one right over here, just like that. Now we're going to put some sauce right on top, just like this. Mind you, you don't have to put sauce on this. You can just bake it like this and it would be just as delicious. But I know that you like the sauce bellezza, so we're going to do it this way. Just sprinkle some mix of Parmigiano Reggiano and Pecorino, just like that. Look at that, looks amazing. And we're going to bake it first covered for about 20 minutes and then uncovered for the last 5 to 10 minutes. So let me cover it. And when this is done, I'll show you what it'll look like. Oh, fix your oven. I put it at convection bake at 400, and just let it do its thing. Ooh, I hear sizzling. Let's pull it out and see what's going on. Oh, see, it's starting to boil up like that. That's perfect. We'll leave it in there for another 10 more minutes and then uncovered for another 5 to 10. Oh, perfect. Now we're going to leave it uncovered. So let's leave it in there uncovered for 5 to 10 minutes. Look at it sizzling, but we're going to wait for it to cool down a little. I'm not going to cut off a big piece to eat because we're actually bringing this over to friends today as a potluck dish. Hopefully they will like my recipe. We shall see. But I will cut open just a little one so that you can taste. You can let it rest a little bit before you actually serve. I highly recommend that when you do that, you just put this cover back on, just like this, and then just wait 5 minutes. What ends up happening, just like you let a steak rest or a turkey rest, you want all the juices to go back into the food. Giving it 5 minutes too will help keep everything together so it doesn't fall apart. Ooh, look at that. Look at all that yummy cheese that we put in there. It's a little hot. You can taste the garlic, the onion, the parsley. Obviously the provolone cheese, the actual eggplant. It's just a nice mix. It's a nice blend all together. And I know you love this dish. So I hope you enjoy it. Buon appetito, bellezza. Alla prossima.